Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the November 6th Super Smackdown review. We got this finally here. Now, is this any better than Raw? Because Raw was not good. Let's be honest. The 5th was bad. Now, how was the 6th? Let's see what we got. We got Cole calling out Sheamus because Sheamus and William Regal, which I was actually surprised about. I know I saw him on Raw the day before. No problem with that. But I didn't expect them to put him into anything, which they did. Both in, how can I say this? You got Regal and Sheamus getting a pint, man. Getting a pint, matey. Whatever, you're going to be British. Look, they went to get some drinks, and they got their asses whooped by the Big Show in some place. It looked like a pub, or at least a pub equivalent. What did it come down to? Sheamus trying to call out the Big Show, as usual. Big Show saying that I'm going to destroy you at Survivor Series, as usual. The only thing that was different was Wade Barrett coming out, which pretty much Wade having a match with Sheamus on Wednesday Night Main Event. It's good to see they put it on there because they don't usually talk a lot about it on Raw. So bringing it on SmackDown isn't too bad. It's understandable. So with Booker T dealing with Wade Barrett afterward, because Wade left right after he said his little bit when Sheamus pretty much said, you know what, I'm tired of talking, get your ass in here, I want to kick it. We got Wade Barrett walking away. Now Booker T made a match between him and the Big Show versus Sheamus and William Regal. The only thing that was in there that was interesting for me was to see William Regal wrestle on SmackDown. I know he may do some work on NXT. He's still the voice of NXT most of the time. It's very rare for Regal to be wrestling at all right now. Not saying that he's retired, but they don't really utilize him much. So I was interested in this match because it was Regal only. Not saying that Wade Barrett isn't beyond over with the crowd. The crowd was over for Sheamus, but they're way over for Wade. So I can say having Birmingham, England, having at least for Wade was very good. I want to say also that, again, the commentary was good. Even with the matches and the stuff backstages and stuff was just boring. I say it before and I'll say it again. I do love JR. JR is still one of the greatest commentators to me, next to Gorilla Monsoon. But lately, the person that has been getting my attention has been JBL. Honestly. I don't know what's going on with Raw, and I'm sure that I really believe that you could see how the commentating team feels about this, because, let's be honest, ladies and gentlemen, Michael Cole's not a great commentator, but you can say that he has his moments. We know JBL is a very good commentator. We know that JR is a great commentator. But when you're stuck with a product that sucks, eventually that infiltrates your product, infiltrates your commentary. And I've noticed with JR, he's been a bit flat. I don't believe he's feeling it. I don't. I'm sure everyone else has a different opinion about this and probably is saying, look, you're not looking close enough. JR is still there. He's got his interest perked up. He's in the product. Well, I can understand that for some other people, but for me, honestly, I don't really feel JR is really interested in this. Not that he doesn't care about the product. Not that he doesn't care about the WWE. But I'm sure he has to be noticing that the product sucks. Particularly now that we know that Linda lost again. Linda McMahon lost her Senate try again. She lost. Hopefully, I'm sure this is not going to happen. Maybe Linda will stop trying to become a senator or governor or congressman or anything and let her husband focus on the product. Because the product is really sucky and is showing in commentary. One of the greatest commentary members in history is not feeling it. We know we got a problem. And a guy who hasn't been doing commentary for more than a few years and is on the B show, B, giving more energy than the real pro is, supposedly, which is JR. I'm just saying. Okay. First bit we got here, I want to get this out of the way first. Brad Maddox. I did not say anything about him during the Raw review. I have to admit that it slipped my mind. I know I also put what was written on my description about what happened with Damian and Cody and Daniel Bryan and Kane. I'm not going to explain them. But for Daniel Maddox, I am going to talk about this shortly. What they did to him, and I agree with the Off the Rope show, honestly, they should have never put this guy who has been on FCW in a very prominent spot in the hour period where, honestly, if he didn't have enough time to really remember what was said, he was trying way too hard and he felt uncomfortable. I agree with the Slug Daddy and Texas Tony T. The guy didn't even feel comfortable doing it. And what the hell was going on with the pants and the vest? He looked like he was wearing a little kid's clothes. He made me think that was Sheamus' little brother's clothes. That's how tight it was. There was no need for him to be wearing those clothes. He looked terrible. I understand that we're in Birmingham, England, and there are certain styles you wear in England like that. The casual person wears that kind of style, unlike in the United States, and particularly in New York, where they wear jeans halfway down their butt, near their knees. That's the style. And in Birmingham, maybe that was the style. But they could have gotten some clothes that fit him not so tightly, because he looked terrible. Honestly, I can at least say he really tried his best to work with what he had. Talking about how he wanted to go into WWE and they didn't want him. The guy is 6 foot tall. He's taller than Ray. And that storyline part right there, the bit about him saying, I'm going to do whatever it takes to be in the WWE. I started out as basically rough because they wouldn't take me. It sounded weak. I know he tried his best with it, but it was crap. And then when Vince and Vicky comes out, and Vince says, you want $1 million contract? I'm willing to give it to you. If you go up against Ryback, he said, fine, I'll take him. I want Ryback. Honestly, this is going to be interesting to see what they're going to do with him. Maybe they will let him lose Ryback. Maybe they will let him lose. And I said before in my Raw review where I said that when you had John Cena and Ryback facing one another, I said clearly they cannot turn Ryback heel right now. A face-to-face confrontation after what's going to happen in Survivor Series will probably happen between John Cena and Ryback. Sooner or later it's going to happen. The problem is that having a face-and-face, unless they do something very interesting with Ryback or do something very interesting with John Cena, what's going on with the storyline, it's going to be boring. Unless they're going to make John Cena very edgy and resentful or something like that, that Ryback's taking his spot, I don't see anything interesting. There's a good chance that Brad Maddox will win the match. I'm not sure about that. Unless someone's going to help him. Maybe it's going to be dirty with CM Punk or Paul Heyman or someone else. We just don't know. Now, I'm going to go for the first match. We got Kofi and Miz again. I understand the Miz won his match when he was with the Big Show when it came to having that match. Honestly, the tag team match. But honestly, there is nothing behind this. It was a standard match. Kofi didn't do bad. Miz didn't do bad. But I wasn't invested. There was some people in the crowd that was a bit invested in Kofi. There was a few people that was invested in the Miz, but almost nobody. Miz grew back his beard and mustache. He got the 5 o'clock shadow again, unless I was wrong and I missed him getting a beard back. I might have. So sorry about that, ladies and gentlemen. I have been very distracted lately. But was this match great? No. It was the same match we've seen. Kofi wins. I don't see what's going on with this. At the end, you got the Miz wanting to shake Kofi's hand. That could have been, I believe, at least a step for the Miz to become a face. Honestly. if Kofi hadn't drop kicked him in the face. I would say that this match would have some meaning because Kofi kicked The Miz's ass now 4 times. Maybe The Miz finally had a change of heart and is now going to be turned as a face. Maybe this could have been the face turn that a lot of people think, if anyone has thought about it, hell, maybe The Miz will get over more as a face now because we've seen him as a very good heel. But let's see what he can do as a face. If they allowed Kofi to shake The Miz's hand and then The Miz did not attack him and they left it at that, they could have started something. But they let Kofi drop kick him in the face. So what did they prove? Nothing. Was this match interesting? No. Do we get anything out of it? No. And that's sad because I do like both of these guys. And if The Miz had been allowed to shake Kofi's hand and not attack him, this could have been the beginnings of a Miz turn as a face. They need faces right now. I know they also need some heels, but they got tons of heels. Some of them great, some of them a piece of crap. But we need more faces. Try The Miz as a face. But they didn't do it unless The Miz is still going to turn face, which would be kind of stupid after what just happened. So I'm going to leave it as that. Primetime players versus the Reigns and Cara. And I wish to say beforehand, the backstage with Booker T and Teddy Long really didn't make much sense. It was a bit funny though, seeing how, if you want to really see it as somehow funny, seeing that Booker T supposedly acting like it was nonchalant, that Teddy said, hey, you ain't doing that good. You could have came up with something else. Essentially the same thing that you came up with, Vicky could have came up with easily. Honestly, if this is still playing to the storyline, they should have had Eve there. It would make more sense. It would have. If this is supposed to show that Teddy and Booker T still having friction, they should have left the joke out. And Teddy could have just left, and Booker T could have had his attitude. That would have made more sense for the storyline, but I don't know if they're still doing it. And to be honest, I'm almost to the point I just don't care. It's just sad. But the primetime players with Sin Cara and Ray, basic match. Titus O'Neil got over on Ray, which was a bit of a surprise, but it's okay with that. The only thing that made this entire match really interesting was the after. And when Titus took the mic from Matt Striker and started interviewing Darren Young, or whatever the guy's name. I just don't even want to think about the guy anymore. But essentially, he's asking him, what are you going to do? He said, I'm going to get millions of dollars. And when they had to go to Matt Striker, and Matt said, as they wanted, millions of dollars, it was a little funny. The dance was a bit funny, seeing that he acted like either he didn't want to be there, Matt Striker, or he just couldn't dance. So I can at least say that part of the segment of that match was interesting, honestly. That was the only thing that I really liked. Alright, the Sheamus and Big Show, no, the Big Show and Wade versus Sheamus and Regal match. Honestly, the only thing that was interesting to me was seeing when it was time to have Regal versus Wade Barrett. That part I was interested in more than just seeing Sheamus and Big Show or Sheamus and Wade Barrett. Honestly. I wanted to see William Regal do a little bit of work in the ring with Wade Barrett. I wasn't I wasn't too disappointed. They could actually have a very good program together. They don't have bad chemistry. But I do admit, I wish that William Regal could have worn something a little bit longer, or at least not wear the entire stretch thing over his body. It made him look a little funny to me. But you know what? Regal's always been that way, and I easily let it slide. That he's a good guy. He's a good mid-card wrestler. He's been a good mid-card champion. He has his good points. He has his bad points. He's also had good matches, very good matches in the mid-card. Sometimes he has some bad matches, but I remember him from doing very good work in the European Championship. So most of the match, Regal was in it. Seeing Big Show slap the crap out of him in the chest. Regal sells any pain he gets well. He gives good screams in pain. So I can say he always does well. basically, who wins this? We have, Big Show winning over Regal. You could say you needed Regal the job there because you don't want to see Sheamus' job. Keeps Sheamus looking like he's weak. Keeps Big Show looking like he's strong. I can understand the entire concept of this match. It's okay. Did I really enjoy it? If it wasn't with Regal and it wasn't for Wade? No. Really, there wasn't a lot of investment in it. I wasn't too invested in the match. It's good for storylines, yes. But was I invested? No. There just wasn't enough interest. And understand, JBL gave a good showing for this match. He really tried his best to put some energy into it. So that kind of perked it up a little bit for me, but it really wasn't that great. Now the final thing, and I'm going to make sure I don't forget anything. Okay, the only thing I can say before I say the match between ADR and Randy Orton. One, we did not see a Drew McIntyre, which made no sense. Why Drew wasn't even available? He should have been there. We didn't see no Divas, so that's not really going to hype much up for Survivor Series because there's probably going to be a match. It's going to probably be the last thing, probably on the last Smackdown before the Survivor Series. They're going to start trying to hype it, which is going to be boring. Antonio Rosado with R-Truth, nothing about R-Truth, nothing about Antonio. I would have liked to see them there. Have a segment in the back with R-Truth because he's very funny. When he's doing backstage segments, I would have liked to see that. That wasn't there. So this Smackdown was very lackluster. Now I can say when it came to the ADR and Randy Orton match, it was good. I'm going to say this very clearly. This was not a boring match. It was actually a pretty good match. They did a little bit of work in the ring at first. Then they went outside the ring. They went in the stands. They went to the people. It wasn't too bad of a match. The way it ended was with a RKO on the steel steps for to ADR. Sorry about that. But honestly, I'm not going to get into full detail about this because it wasn't necessary. Because the way this is, it's not over yet. There's only one way I believe this is going to be over. Only one. And it's 2 words. Well, 1 syllable and 1 word. I quit. I believe this. I believe they're going to do an I quit match. Because they just did a match with basically no holds barred. They had full range of the entire arena in Birmingham, England. There is no other thing left to do, but unless they're going to do a last man standing match, the best one would be an I quit match. So they can finally bring this to an end and move them both off from one another. Because let's be honest here, it's good to see someone else being worked with Randy Orton. Yes, I'm very happy that he's working with a younger talent. Well, actually, they're almost pretty much the same age. But you know that ADR has only been there for a short time. But let's be honest, there's not much that they've done lately that hasn't been already done. And it might be time to start splitting these 2 off to let them do something else. Let ADR do this with somebody else. Maybe he can go after the U.S. title or go after with R-Truth, because we didn't really see much with R-Truth. And I know people are saying, wait a minute, that's a scale down going to the U.S. Championship if ADR wins. Yes, I know, but at least it'll be something different. With Randy Orton, he can go off and do something else with somebody else. Maybe he should go and tag team up with somebody and go after the titles. That wouldn't be that bad. Let ADR go off and do something. Let Randy Orton team up with somebody and then go into the tag team division, because since Triple H is trying to rebuild it, or at least supposedly rebuild it, let him go and do some tag team work. Let him stay away from the singles competition. Give us something different. Honestly, we need it. Let's be honest here. The show right now that has given even more interest is Smackdown, and I know that's being really stretching it, because they still show stuff on Raw. The John Cena and Vicky segment, they showed it again. I was bored out of my mind with it. But let's be honest, you'll see more on Smackdown than you would on Raw, and that's saying a lot. Raw is almost nothing on there that's interesting. Almost nothing, especially with the storyline with John Cena. It's almost nothing. Smackdown, on instance, at least you got a couple of matches. It wasn't a huge amount of backstage segments, and I'm really stretching it with Smackdown because this is a C show. I could give this a C-, but you know what? At least they tried giving us some matches. At least they tried to make it interesting, especially with the primetime players. At least they're trying to do something. And honestly, the one that is the best commentator right now, and I'm surprised about this, is JBL. He's the only one that has the most energy right now. So this is what we got, ladies and gentlemen. This is a very lackluster SmackDown. Super SmackDown Live. It really was not great. So I hope you enjoyed this Zane's View. Subscribe and comment. If anybody wants to see my videos, you'll be able to see now that I have a playlist of SmackDown videos and Raw videos now. And I'm sure a couple of people have already seen my presidential election reaction. So, look, if anybody's seen this and they want to check my channel and then they see the reaction video and they get pissed about it, I was not trying to piss people off, honestly. I was just trying to clearly say what people have been doing. I've met a lot of people that have been saying exactly what I said. I'm not trying to insult nobody. I'm not trying to piss nobody off. I'm just trying to tell the truth and be a good person, you know? If you don't like it, I understand that. But if you do like it, thank you. Thank you for accepting my opinion and think that it means something. Because let's be honest, ladies and gentlemen, it means something to vote and have your own ideas. Does it mean you always back the right guy? No. But it doesn't really matter as long as you believe in something. So have a good night. Be well.